Hello, and welcome back to Is This Still Good? A podcast about removing nostalgia goggles and dusting off childhood treasures. And of course, seeing if women still have value to Hollywood if their voices are a little too high.
Hmm.
I'm Sage,
I'm Gavin.
and Gavin didn't like that joke. And it is our 100th episode. I didn't need a 30-second clip of cheering, so we'll cut that short. As you can probably
I
tell
mean,
by
why
my
not?
Yeah, feel free to pause the podcast at any time and applaud.
Yeah, exactly.
We'll come back when you're done. As you can probably tell by both my very subtle intro and the title of the thing that you clicked on, we are finally discussing 1952's Singing in the Rain, directed
You've
by
all been
Gene
asking
Kelly
for it.
and
Yeah.
someone else. A couple people have asked me for this, and this is one of my absolute biggest blind spots, despite being one of the most influential movies of all time and a movie about my very specific career. And
Mhm.
I can't think of a better guest to walk us through this movie than the sound mixer of La La Land and Babylon, Steve Morrow. Steve, how you doing?
Hey, thanks for having me. I didn't know you were a singer and a dancer. It's
That is
strange.
correct.
He's always popping out of pies, this guy. Yeah.
Mr. Dancing Cavalier was my name growing up.
That's right. It all makes sense now.
Steve, you look like you're in the desert.
Yep, Joshua Tree, California. Nice balmy 70 degrees out.
Wow, that's that's pretty lucky for Joshua Tree.
Yeah.
It's pretty nice. Yeah.
Is it going to be like 100 by the end of this podcast? Or
Little do people know we're a mile high. So,
oh,
we're usually cooler than Palm Springs just because of the altitude.
Hmm.
when we had our just god awful heat wave a few weeks back, how did that
Yeah.
affect the Mile High Desert region?
It was actually, it was about the same temperature as LA, maybe minus a degree or two, but not by much. I mean, when it's hot, it's hot.
Yeah,
There's no getting away with it. But you just stay inside with the air conditioning and enjoy the view from the windows.
yeah, because I straight up refuse to take jobs in Palm Springs in the summer.
Yeah. Well, what if they're interiors?
I guess now we have more control over taking out AC in post, but earlier in my career, that was,
This is true.
yeah, that was when my job is as simple as hanging a microphone over everyone else, but I can't get the conditions to make someone sound good regardless.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I
it's painful.
remember in film school days with tungsten units on hot days, interiors with the AC off, we actually shattered a window due to heat. Just
Incredible.
awful. Awful.
Yeah. We were doing a film in downtown LA, and they had the mirror reflection on the glass, and they were pumping
Oh,
HMIs through it,
man.
and there
Yeah.
was a big concern about exploding the windows, and luckily we didn't, but they had to turn them off every once in a while and just cool down the glass.
Now, audience, if you can't tell, this is going to be even more of an episode about filmmaking than general. It's,
That's what happens when you do a movie about filmmaking.
boy, did
Yeah,
they.
true.
It's episode 800, and I think we have a pretty great show for you. And if we don't, then welcome to episode 99.
Yeah. Just mark it in the comments.
Unlike what we did on the 50th, it's going to be a pretty fairly normal and contained episode. We'll do a more self-congratulatory episode and Q&A later this month. And if you have questions for us or want the chance to insult us live on air, there's still time to send us an email or an angry voice note to stillgoodpod@gmail.com or message us at Instagram at stillgoodpod, where you can also follow our silly little clips.
Yeah, because if you don't, we're just going to be writing our own Q&As, and that's just deeply embarrassing.
Don't give it away. That's probably going to happen. It'll be a mix, and you'll never be able to tell. You will, because the questions that are actually just really pointed and mean towards Gavin are going to be from me.
Yeah, it's unbelievably.
Those ones are the real fan mails.
Yeah. Well, no one's a bigger fan of you than me, Gavin.
Uh-huh.
But I got to cut you down to size.
Sure. And after that, we're going to take a little break to recalibrate. Nothing like what we did between seasons 1 and 2, we promise. But if your question is, hey, I'm looking at this podcast app of choice, and it doesn't look like there's a 100th episode. What's going on? Don't look too closely at the metadata, and it'll all be fine.
It's
Some of
complicated.
these were not up to the quality standards that you would expect, and we like to deliver. So just accept that this is episode 100, and I think I've stalled enough. We can get into the episode,
I'm
right?
like 80% sure that this is episode 100 by my arbitrary metrics.
I give it a 50-50
Yeah.
if you add those two together.
You get episode 100.
It
Yeah,
feels
that's
like
right.
an 100. Yeah.
Yeah.
By the way, we've remastered the first few seasons if you're interested in going through any back catalog, but we're turned off by the way it was recorded. Now you can hear it as it was originally intended in glorious.
In glorious Technicolor.
Yeah, you got ahead of me. And that, of course, includes Steve's first episode, Blues Brothers, where you should go to hear more of Steve's background and work on A Star is Born and Crank. We also talk a lot about Fisher Jones.
Oh, yeah. Crank.
All right, let's get into it. Singin' in the Rain. Is it still good?
And dancing.
Yeah, I mean, it's a
No,
it's a
I'm
fun
not
movie
actually
to
asking
watch.
that. That's like
you
an
weren't
hour
asking.
from now.
Okay. Yeah. I thought that was the end of the podcast.
I want to know from everyone, where were you? Who were you when this movie first entered your life?
Boy, I honestly, it's one of those movies that you think you've seen it because you've seen so much of it, and so it seems so familiar to you until you actually watch it and you go, "Oh yeah, no, I haven't seen this movie yet. I've seen a bunch of clips from it, but I haven't seen the movie yet." So I was introduced to it when we started prepping Babylon, because Babylon is a
Really?
very close. It's kind of like it's not a remake of it, but it's a similar remake of it. It has a lot of the similar scenes, and when we first go on to the studio lot where there's all the different silent films being made at once, and it's a
Yeah.
montage of going past them all. I mean, it's a nod to old Hollywood in that sense. So yeah, when I first watched it, I went, "Holy crap, we're remaking Singing in the Rain," but only with drugs and drug dealers. Real Hollywood.
This story is not taking place before La La Land.
Yeah, well, no, yeah, I mean, I did not watch this before La La Land.
That's
Fascinating.
I watched this in between the two. I mean, La La Land is, it was at the time we were making it, to be honest, the studio was nervous, everybody else was nervous because it was an original musical that just wasn't made, at that point. If you look at, all the original musicals, there just wasn't very many. I mean, up to that point, obviously there was a ton before, but they kind of went out of fashion, and then we brought it back in with La La Land, and now there's just
You saved
musicals
jazz.
galore.
You didn't save jazz. We saved jazz.
Yeah, exactly. And so then, yeah, it takes Ryan Gosling to save some jazz, and yeah. But it was not until we started prepping Babylon that I actually sat down and watched it.
Did that change any, like, how did you use that in prep for Babylon, out of curiosity?
Honestly, Damien, on each one of his movies, he'll get out a list of movies that inspires him
Get your
for
homework.
that movie.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's kind of the homework of the movie. Like, here's a list of movies. What he does, which is really nice. It doesn't so much work for the sound department. Obviously, when we are hired on a movie, we come in a few days before, maybe a week or two before, but we're not in the office every day prepping like all the other departments are. And so the other departments, they have a screening. I think it was like, once a week or twice a week, they'd have a screening at the studio, like on a soundstage somewhere, and they just project an old movie that inspired the director. But typically sound's not there because we're just working on other things or not in the
So you
office
guys at least
prepping.
you're at least invited though, right?
Yeah, we're invited, but it's it's
Okay.
one of those things. It's like I'm at my house,
Yeah.
not getting paid, just hanging out. So
Sure.
here's the movies they're gonna watch, so I put them on and I watch them. And
Yeah.
that's the fun of it all. I mean, it's obviously fun if you go and watch it with the whole team, but most of the time I've just been working, haven't been able to jump out and do that. But
Yeah.
but he does that on every movie. These are the films that inspired this movie, and the look and the feel and the vibe, and just in general be aware of these movies. So
Would you be breaking NDA to say a few more of those titles on that list if you recall them?
Yeah, do you remember what you
I'll
watched
look 'em up.
for Babylon?
yeah, I'm not
Okay.
100% sure. Let's see. I can look them up as we go, but
Okay.
I would accept a guess.
but yeah,
Like what feels right. That's that's going to be a lot.
Singing
An
in the
American
Rain.
in Paris, yeah.
Yeah, an American in Paris. Yeah.
Doing we're going to be asking a lot of like sound technical questions during this episode regarding old Hollywood, and I'm not expecting you to actually know all the answers, but I do expect you to have a more informed guess than I do. That's all. That's
That's fair. Yeah,
that's
that's
the
fair.
barrier of
And I'll
this.
fact check you guys because I do know all this stuff. Surprise, surprise.
Yeah.
That's right.
I love it.
Our resident old tech expert.
Now, Sage, when did you first see Singing in the Rain?
A couple days ago.
Oh, well, I guess that
Nailed
answers
it.
that question.
When I say this is my biggest blind spot, I 100% mean that, and I don't know, I'm never really drawn to classic musicals. There's a couple
Hmm.
exceptions, but I've seen enough that I just kind of felt were a waste of my time that I've just been kind of putting off Singing in the Rain.
Wow.
What was the other waste of your time, do you think?
It's fully, like, blocked out of my brain. I was
Hmm.
really into musicals on stage. I
Sure.
I loved going to a stage and watching people sing and dance, and that feels right, and anytime it's in a movie, it feels inauthentic to me. Or I should speak past tense here, like, I'm a much different person than I was 30 years ago.
Yeah, right,
But
right.
even as a child, the first time I watched West Side Story as a kid,
Hmm.
I kinda thought, like, "This is pretty dumb, and I'm not having fun."
Wow.
Mhm.
Yeah, and even when I watched it after we worked with Rita Moreno,
Hmm.
Gab and I met on a Rita Moreno film, and they showed it at Grand Lake Theater, and I went with the producers, everyone else, and everyone afterwards was kind of in unison that it's just like, "Yeah, that's not actually that good."
I had that experience. We were doing,
Yeah.
we were doing Up in the Air in, I wanna say St. Louis, and Jason Reitman would rent out a movie theater every Sunday morning, local movie theater, and play old prints of old movies, and he put on, Warriors. I don't know if you've seen
Hmm.
that movie?
Mhm.
Like
And
the
the lore behind
Warriors?
it, you know,
You mean like
yeah,
the?
warriors,
Yeah,
come
yeah.
out, come
Okay.
out and
Yeah, yeah.
play, right? And he put it on, and the lore behind it is, it started riots in theaters, and there was violence, and it was, all this stuff because of
Okay.
the movies and the
Yeah.
gangs. And then you watch it, and you just go, "Boy, that was a different time." Like,
Yeah.
this is the silliest thing I've
It's
ever
very
seen,
Yeah.
and
silly.
it was just very silly. And so that's, a lot of the older movies are, you know,
No,
maybe that,
that part of history where they talk about how New York used to be a very dangerous, scary
yeah.
place. And then when you do look at images of people from that time who are in New York, the fashion is pretty
They terrified
fun.
me. Yeah.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
a lot of bright colors, a lot of backwards caps, a lot of leather.
That's right. It's tough guys, you don't wanna mess with them.
I do want to pause for just 1 second to mention that, to bring back 6 Degrees of Space Jam for just a half
Oh,
second.
6 Degrees of Space Jam.
Sage, that means you and I, we are 1 degree from Singing in the Rain, with Zelda being Rita Moreno.
Correct.
Hmm,
1 degree
Pretty cool.
from Singing in the Rain. I
that is
like
pretty
that.
Um,
great.
Yeah.
and this is a movie that I grew up watching this movie. I was raised on like Marx Brothers films, and I did dabble in musical theater in high school, and I may never have like fully encapsulated theater kid energy. I did really enjoy staged and screened musicals. And this was always kind of one of my favorites. It actually works very well in the clip format because it takes so many side quests.
Mhm.
A lot of people talk about the Sid Charisse. I forget what that section's called, but they actually do it in the beginning of La La Land pretty similarly with like all the neon signs going by, and it's referenced in The Simpsons continuously. There's a lot of just like this movie has it so far ingrained into culture that like you do feel when you're watching it. It's like, oh, I remember all this, even if you
Right.
haven't ever seen it or seen it in a long time. So it all came rushing back to me. But yeah, this movie has felt ever present in my life.
That's amazing.
Steve, is that an owl in the background?
We do have owls. We have, lovebirds out here as well. They're
Incredible.
probably a lovebird. Yeah.
Good. We got a
There is quite
nice
a bit of wildlife.
nice classic soundscape. I'm thinking
Yeah.
about the amount of times, on movies where there are birds and I get asked, "Is this a problem?" And, like, yes, when they're crows, but a lot of times it's like, "No,
Yeah.
what weren't you gonna add birds anyway?"
Yeah.
Like,
Well, maybe the parrots in Pasadena.
yeah.
Pasadena parrots are brutal.
"Oh, no, your
It's
movie
like, you just
sounds
have to
better now."
stop.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Have you run into that?
Well, the birds every once in a while, sure, but if it's, like, I guess the history in the Pasadena parrots is that there's what was it, a pet store burned down in the 70s or 80s, and they released all the birds, and they just made a natural habitat in Pasadena, and so there's all these green, parrots flapping around, and and they make a ton of noise when they're all together. And yeah, that's tough. I've been on a film where they had to bring out a what is it, a falconer, guy
Mm.
with a falcon just to stand on his shoulder all day, because when the birds see it, they just don't come anywhere near it. And so you get, good clean sound, but but most of the time you just wait for them to fly away. The productions don't have money to spend on a falconer as much as they used to.
I wonder what the going rate is on a falconer.
Whatever it is, it's probably more than we're getting paid.
I
I would
might look
hope
into
so.
that. I need a little
Yeah.
side gig here.
Do you have a falcon? You're gonna get a
Not
falcon.
yet, but I could get a
We're looking
falcon.
into it. Yeah.
Yeah,
Well,
if the price is
California,
right.
let me own a falcon. Steve, I have a dumb follow-up question to that, which lets me play a little song that I've been working on here called Dumb Questions for
Love it.
Steve. It's time
Oh,
for
great.
Dumb Questions for Steve. Stupid questions for Steve. What's the weirdest animal you've recorded on set?
Weirdest animal, not weirdest, scariest. I recorded a tiger. It was on Charmed. Years and years ago, I was doing some second unit on Charmed,
Okay.
and I'm sitting on stage, and we have this set that is an alleyway. And back in the day, we had the CRT monitors, or black and white, because it was on film and it was black and white video taps. And all day, everybody's the caution, everybody, tigers on set, all this stuff. So everybody's sitting still, and the tiger is walking down towards camera down the alley. And all it's supposed to do is just walk towards the camera and then cut and then, put it back in its cage. And it walks down the alley and it takes a left. And I went, uh, and there it was. I was like, oh shit, that tiger's in color. This is not good. And then they were like, cut, everybody freak out. And the handler came in, and the tiger was not happy and threw her around and bashed her up
Oh.
against the wall. And it was like, oh yeah, this tiger, if he wants to, he can just do whatever he wants. But he was pretty mellow at that point. And they put him back in the cage, and we were just like, oh my gosh, it was insane. Because it was in black and white all day. And then I look over
Yeah.
and it's in perfect color next to me, and I was like, oh boy, picked the wrong spot to sit.
Was not
So that might be
expecting
the
tiger.
weirdest. I mean, yeah, tiger. It's not really a weird animal, but yeah,
It
I think
counts.
that's probably the
I
weirdest one
believe
I've
it's when
recorded.
you mention exotic animals, a tiger comes to mind. I think that's a
Yeah.
solid pick.
Let me play a second jingle here. Stupid questions for Steve.
Yeah.
We wanted to know, because this never came up on the Blues Brothers episode. Do you have any theater background? Were you a theater kid?
No, I wasn't. I actually always wanted to make movies my entire life, and I would take any kind of classes that they had in high school or community college for film classes. But yeah, never went into theater. Never was interested in that. But always interested in making films. So would make videos with friends, or anything when we were younger. But yeah, always wanted to make movies.
Well, how'd you come into sound then?
I was taking film classes in a community college up in Seattle, Bellevue Community College, when
Oh.
I was 17. And the sound of all my projects were terrible. So I took a sound class and started holding booms for people and doing sound. And professor said, hey, everybody should try to get a job on the local movie and call the, Washington State Film Hotline and see what they have available. And so there was a movie coming up, and they needed a craft service person, script supervisor, or boom operator. And so I thought, okay, I don't know what those other two things are, but I know what a boom operator does. And so I called and begged and pleaded for a month to hire me for free, and they did. And first day I was on set, I didn't know what a C stand or a Apple box was. And I was like, I've been going to community college for film classes for a year and a half. What am I doing? I'm out of here. This is my last semester. I'm not paying any more for that. So I went off and made that movie, and it was miserable. The movie was called Where the Air is Cool and Dark. And it was miserable because it would rain 6 or 7 inches a day, all day, on the Olympic Peninsula in Seattle, and we just got soaked. It was a movie about a heroin addicted logger who came back to New York to, work in logging because he got addicted to heroin in New York.
That does
Another
sound
great New York
uplifting.
story.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was super happy.
I didn't realize you started watching it, because that's almost identical to my story. After film school in Spokane, I got to work on a few things not knowing what I was doing, and my reaction was also like, whoa, a light.
Yeah.
Whoa,
Yeah,
you're
like,
taking time to
what?
put a kino above the actor.
Yeah. What
And
have
then
I been
things
learning?
just get bigger and bigger from there. It's like, what's that person's job? I'm like, that's the wardrobe person. Whoa, they don't bring their own
Yeah.
clothes.
Right. Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
I'll never tell anyone to not go to college, but unless you're going to one
I
of
do all the
the
time.
real networking film schools, I do say don't go to film school.
Yeah, I mean, if you want to be a doctor or a lawyer, sure, you probably should go to college for that. But I mean, even now, my mom, often sends her friends to me with their kids, like, oh, my son wants to get into film, and can you tell him what college to go to? And I say, I'm the wrong person to ask because I don't think you should go to college. You should spend the time and energy in making your own projects and learning as you go, or just working on set, figuring it out there.
I mean, I do wish
Because
Yeah.
I'd
everybody's gonna start at the bottom.
gotten like a basic business degree and then like everything else had gone the exact same way. I think that would have
Yeah.
helped things over. That would have made a lot of conversations easier. Maybe.
Yeah, it's definitely like a thing that you have to use really well for it to be worth it. And the trappings there to kind of figure it out over 4 years can turn into a waste of time for sure. I have a lot of the people that I look up to, a lot of them went to very expensive, fancy art schools and dropped out the second that it seemed feasible. And I think that you probably shouldn't go to a fancy art school, but don't be afraid to drop out if you see a better path. You can always go back to college if you really want to. And
Totally.
it's a great place to meet people and make mistakes, but you can do that for cheaper elsewhere too, for sure.
Yep, and if you look at the richest people on the planet right now, most of them didn't go to college or at least complete it. So
No, well,
it
some of
tells
them
you
own
something.
colleges.
Yeah.
We have a dumb question from Adam, who was supposed to be on this episode, but scheduling came through with you, not instead of you, just to be clear.
Yeah, yeah, that's okay. Runner up is fine.
So I'll play this one more time.
Stupid questions for Steve.
It's the last time, I promise.
I can tell Gavin loves this segment.
I just want to do more music in this podcast in general. So why don't you do Crank 2?
So Crank 2 was made at the same time that we were making a different film for the same company. So I worked with
Oh.
Lakeshore Entertainment for a lot. If you look at my career, there's like a block of 2 or 3 years where I did, every movie they made. And so when that movie was being made at the same time, I took a different film. Well, I don't remember what the other movie was. It may have been the Gerard Butler movie that was. It was like a love, movie. It was like, but I just thought, I'd done those directors' movies before,
Like
and
an Ugly
they were
Truth
good
or something?
guys, and I could. Yeah, The Ugly Truth. That's what it was. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
And so I did that movie
I picked
instead.
the most generic one of those.
Yes. No, The Ugly Truth. That's what it was. So I did that one instead, just figuring, well, it's a new director, and those directors that I did Crank with and Gamer with, and they're good guys, but it was one of those things where I could get Robert Sharman on it as the mixer. He was the utility on the first movie. He was the mixer on the second movie. So it
That
was
is
just
cool. Yeah.
scheduling. Yeah, it was fun.
I just assumed you were burnt out from Crank.
No, those guys are great. I mean, they were fun to work with, and
Yeah.
you know, having them be camera operators, all the camera operators, it was one of these things where they were very open to sound. And I actually said, look, you can do whatever you want with the wide cameras. Go crazy, go everything. But as soon as you get into a close up, give us a chance and let us boom it. Because that's where all your dialogue's going to live anyway.
Yeah.
All your dialogue's just going to live in the close ups. On an action movie like this. I said, so if you could just give us a chance and get a boom in there, that was perfect. That's how we trained them.
I
Not
was
trained them, but let them know here's how sound's going to work.
Yeah.
That's
best
how we
for you.
directed the
And
directors.
yeah, that's how we directed the directors. No, but every once in a while, you have a director who's open and just wants to get it, but doesn't understand what a decision could mean for them in post production. And so if they're open for it, then you let them know here's what's best for sound, and but otherwise, do whatever you want.
Those Mission Impossible movies keep having like crew turnover because people are just like, I can't do this again, man.
Well, I can imagine. I mean, those movies are, years long of your
Yeah.
Yeah, I was
life.
gonna say it didn't seem like Crank probably had a full year and a half to shoot.
Yeah, it's like 25 days or something.
That's crazy. But yeah.
Yeah.
How different is the tone on set between Crank and like a Damien Chazelle period piece?
I mean, it every set has those moments when it's a sensitive scene or it's a a moment where everybody has to take it a little bit more seriously, and every
Mhm.
movie has a scene where it's just goofy and silly, and everybody can be that way. So it both movies have a similarity in the sense that everybody's there to do a good job. They want the movie to
Sure.
be good. They want people to like the movie.
Y They're both so heavily choreographed, like, looking at the
Yeah,
scenes in La La Land and Babylon and Crank, like, you're dealing with combat, you're dealing with dance, and you're dealing
yeah.
with probably a lot of wide shots with a lot of moving parts.
Yeah, exactly. And it's all in the preparation and how you go towards recording the scene. Prep is key. Like La La Land, the idea was that at any point we could go live and fully sing the songs live with all the actors, earwigs, and mute the speakers and do all that stuff. And then um and whether we went that way or not, that was completely up to the director on the moment. But you couldn't say, oh, hold on, let me switch. It was like it had to be quick.
Yeah.
So if you wanted to go live, we could go live. If you want to do it all the playback, we could do it all the playback. But we would always have it set up either way for that. And I think that that's the main part of it is you just have a good prep. Just prepare yourself for every potential, and then you'll never be surprised. Which is hard to do because sometimes it does feel like a waste of your time. But the moment you don't prep for something that might happen, then it's going to happen, and then you're going to be caught stuck, and you're going to look like the guy who didn't care enough.
Dumb question.
Yeah.
Wait, wait, wait.
Stupid question, I guess.
Stupid questions for Steve.
When you're talking about being able to go live on those musical numbers where you like say the one up near Griffith Park where they're overlooking the
Yeah.
town, is playback being pumped into their ears or is it just the vibe on set? Like, 'cause I
Yeah.
know
So
one makes
you
your job possible
Yeah.
and one makes it much harder.
Yeah, well, yeah, specifically on that one, the dancing scene, there was zero chance we were ever gonna go live. The director's
Hmm.
like, "We're not going live. This has to be playback. I can't chance it," because they just didn't want to chance it with the sunsetting. They wanted to be perfect. So we
I
rehearsed
was
all day
wondering
long.
if that was real or not because I'm
I didn't
just
Oh,
even think
that's
about
that.
that.
that's
Yeah.
real,
Oh my
yeah.
god! Wow.
I have a
I didn't
clip
even
of
look
it
into
of
that.
us filming it, and if you scan through it, like it's a 6 minute
Yeah.
long clip of us filming that moment. From the moment it starts until it ends, it's a different sunset. But that is a real
Yeah.
deal sunset. We
Oh
shot it.
man.
We shot 3 takes. We filmed all, or we didn't film all day. We rehearsed all day, and then we waited for the sunset, and then we shot 3 takes. And I think it was the second take that made the movie.
Dang, kudos to everyone, including that colorist.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
no, it was one of those moments where you're sitting there looking at the Pro Tools as it's playing. You're like, please don't glitch, please don't glitch. Because if it stopped playing or something happened, you just
Yeah.
ruin everybody's life. It would be bad. But no, I mean in
Huh.
that scenario. But like for example, the roommate song in La La Land,
Yeah, yeah.
all of Emma Stone's stuff is live in that
Okay.
song, but all the roommate stuff is playback and they're lip syncing. But we radio mic'd them all. We had earwigs ready.
Mhm.
Every single room had a speaker going, and then we did a take where it's okay. Let's do it live just to get footsteps and their
Mhm.
efforts, and just maybe something in there will be cool. And so everybody gets earwigs. We mute the speakers and we hit play, and the contexts are the same. You hear the music in the context, in the mix and everything else. But now you're getting the live vocals and you're getting the footsteps and the foley and all that stuff. And whether that was going to happen or not was just director's choice.
The vibe, yeah.
Yeah, if it was going poorly, we were going to keep going full playback the entire time. But as soon as he got a couple that he likes, he's like, all right, let's try one live, and then you have the opportunity to try it live. And you go, oh, yeah, that's probably not going to work. But it's
Yeah.
cool to have sound effects of shoes and Foley and all that
Yeah.
stuff. And so it gives a good reference.
Yeah, as long as everything's timed the same, you can get a really interesting mix
Yeah.
between those things. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly right. And you have, everybody's in earwigs and they're all doing exactly the same thing. And it was the same on Stars Born, it's like let's mic up this entire concert in case they want to flip the switch and go live and have everybody play their instruments. But otherwise, we're always going to record the vocals live and the music will be playback to a certain degree. But if they want to do a full, live record of the music and vocals, we can do that. We just have to flip the switch. So that was it was a ton of work, because you would have 90 tracks of of audio that you would only be using the couple vocal mics and a couple of the other things for the most part, the stuff in the audience and ambient stuff. But you'd be miking all the instruments and everything else to never really use it. But it's a good reference and it's a good thing for post to have. And they can also, if there's something cool the guitarist is doing, they might use it, they might not. It's just
Yeah.
something interesting.
It's almost like you just got a
That's
giant bag and you're just filling it with sound, and then you chuck it as hard as you can to post-production.
Well, I mean, that's kind of, if you ever watch that gold mining show, Gold Rush, it's that same thing. It's we're the big dump truck that's dumping all the dirt and all the gold into the big machine, right? We're dumping everything. You just get as much material as possible, dump it all in, and then post production sifts it all out, and then they clean it, and then you get a little pile of gold, and that's your movie. I mean, that's what we're doing. Our goal is to get as much junk as possible because you can only get it once. Dump it
that is
into the
true.
hopper and then let them figure it out later.
That's actually how I pitch
At least that's
myself.
that's how I do it.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, yeah. I will pick up all the slop and garbage you guys make. Post will make it into a gold bar. Yeah.
One last thing I wanna know before we finally I promise we'll talk about this movie at some point. So, in ideal conditions, how much prep do you get for a movie when it's, like, the size of La La Land or Babylon?
Well, even for regular film, I like to go on the tech scouts because what happens is everybody's in the office. They've all done the work. They're all together, grip electric. Everybody's getting prepped. They're ordering gear. Everybody goes on these tech scouts. And if sound's not there, the day we show up on the set, we're the ones asking all the dumb questions. Okay, well, what are we
Mhm.
looking at? Where are we going to be? And oh, why is that over here? It's just kind of a silly thing not to include us because a lot of information is given out, even though production doesn't necessarily see it that way. It's like, "Oh, we gotta bring in sound for this tech scout and pay them," but it's super helpful because you get to go and see what all this thing is, or you get to understand why they're filming here and that air conditioning on the building across the street can't be turned off because of X, Y, and Z. And so on the day of, you can really participate in making the movie better by knowing all the answers ahead of time, or at least attempting to know everything. So I like to go on tech scouts and be involved in production meetings of that sorts. When it comes to a music movie, you want more time. Star is Born, I had a lot of prep that was spread out over months. We had a lot of meetings with Gaga and Bradley, to discuss what they want to do, the different songs. There was a lot of discussion on how to get it, what the idea was. We even threw a mock concert to do a proof of concept. So we would because there was originally like, well, do we do all this to playback? Do we do this all
Yeah.
live with instruments, or do we just do it with vocals only, instrument playback? And so it was like, okay, well, let's, I can, here's my idea, and let's see how you like it. We'll record all three versions, and then have Warner Brothers post mix it all down and give you the three options to see which one you like best. And so we did a lot of those things, and so typically, it's a week and a half of prep on a normal film, and I think a Stars Born, I maybe had 3 weeks, but it was spread out over months. It was like a day here, a day there, and some producers have never done a music movie before, and so they're learning as they go, and they're trying to understand, what is the process, or why do we need that, or X, Y, and Z. So those are the things you're helping them come through, and then you're also working it out yourself to try to understand what the director wants, or what the lead actor or actress wants.
Which one was your first music movie again?
I did a movie called Fame. It was a
Fame. Oh,
remake,
yeah, okay.
and that was also through Lakeshore Entertainment.
What was the biggest learning curve on that for you, and then the biggest learning curve that you think you saw for your collaborators?
I think the biggest curve, I think in any collaborative process, is just learning everybody's language.
Mhm.
Just how to communicate what you're trying to attempt, or just trying to understand what they're trying to communicate to you and what their desire is, and then just how do you get there. On a Stars Born, it was learning Stephanie's language of the recording language, the music language, because it's a lot of stuff is similar, but it's super different in music than it is on film, and also vice versa. It's a lot different in film than it is in the music studio, and so you have to, it was a learning process of learning how to communicate the exact same thing to each other. But once you get over that, then that's becomes like a very collaborative, easygoing scenario where everybody's getting along, and everybody's there to make the movie better. That's the thing you always have to remember, is that nobody's there to sabotage anybody. Nobody's there to
Yeah.
make it worse. So,
Unless
it's just being on the same team. Bum bum bum. No, but no, I mean, the whole idea is that everybody's there to make the same film with each other, and so you just want it to be the best that everybody can, and that's communicating what everybody's interests are in that specific scenario, whatever you're talking about.
That's a really good, depending on stage where you feel about this. Speaking about everybody being on the same team and trying to make the same movie.
Speaking of figuring out how to make a movie, Gavin,
I think this might be a good time to attempt the rundown of the plot of Singing in the Rain, because who boy, there's a lot of people and a lot of elbows being thrown trying to get the dueling cavalier across the finish line.
I'm gonna drum up some excitement. What happens in Singin' in the Rain?
Singing in the Rain follows a studio transitioning from silent film to talkies, specifically the vaudeville act of Don Lockwood and Cosmo Brown, as Don goes from, lowly musician to stuntman to A-lister, and he's paired with Lena Lamont, and they become a tabloid couple, although secretly he despises her because she's kind of the worst. She also believes all the tabloids and thinks they are in love and engaged.
Because she's kind of the worst.
Yeah. A little known film called The Jazz Singer comes out, and everyone thinks it's a flash in the pan, but no, talkies are here to stay, and everyone has to pivot like their lives depend on it. And this studio's first talkie is going to be the Dueling Cavalier. What they don't have the ability to really deal with is the fact that Lena Lamont has a piercing voice, and none of their actors seem to know how to act verbally, or let alone find a plant mic. All this aside, Don Lockwood is running from his adoring and bloodthirsty fans, falls into the car of a Kathy who pretends not to recognize who he is. They have some very antagonistic flirting, and this meet cute turns very sour very quickly. But as they separate, he can't get her off his mind. Finally, they're reunited, and they're just in time to watch the Dueling Cavalier turn into a laughingstock movie. They find one way possibly to save it, which is to dub Lena's voice with Kathy's, because she's got a beautiful singing voice. And thankfully, they all save the movie, and it's all fine. Until Lena's like, nope, you must hide her behind the curtains. She can never see the light of day. No one will ever know that voice is my voice now. Pulls an Ursula, and they have to trick her into singing live with Kathy singing behind her behind a curtain. They drop the curtain, Wizard of Oz style, and
Pig's blood comes down.
All the wrongs are righted. Yeah. And that's Singing in the Rain.
Cool. So is it still good? So, we got a little bit more to go through. Right off the bat, there was a moment in this movie where I realized that they were going to invent ADR, and I got all giddy.
Yeah, much like in Babylon, we get to watch the creation of sound in film, and it's just such a charming experience. One of my favorite bits is her turning away from the mic over and over again when they've only got one mic on set, and it's just they're catching every other word, and the levels to that joke, because I think they go back in 3 times. First it's in a plant, then it's on her chest, and we're just hearing her heartbeat, and then it's on her shoulder.
I felt very seen
finally
by the heartbeat.
The studio head walks in and just trips over the sound cord and then pulls it up, and she does a full barrel roll off.
That I didn't necessarily like.
It's the lesser of the bits, but it's a good time.
Just the idea that an executive would come in and be like, "What is this wire?" and then just yank it as hard as they can.
Has that not been your experience with executive producers?
Yeah, they just come and cut the cables. The movie is, it's big. I mean, the Singing in the Rain scene, I just watched it. I was like, how many thousands of gallons?
Yeah.
How much flooding did they cause in the, while filming that?
No, the set pieces are beautiful in this film.
Yeah.
We were just talking about La La Land sunset scene. It's a little easier to do it in a soundstage, but they make those sound stages look enormous. And the level of just the size of these builds, especially I skipped over the Chicago sequence in this movie because it kind of doesn't fit.
So did I when I rewatched it.
They do a 17-minute, I think you said you counted it, Sage.
Yes.
Dream sequence where they the Dueling Cavalier is going to have a modern point where they can fit in jazz and Chicago style dancing.
And it is also the worst music in the movie, hands down. The Broadway melody, everybody dance.
Gotta dance. Yeah.
Just tragically bad.
there's a lot of just these gigantic set pieces that extend so far. The way that like we were talking about her billowing,
Oh yeah, yeah, the scarf. Yeah.
yeah, and there's these endless sets, which again has these like giant sweeping camera moves with all like a cast of like 50 people dancing.
Sure.
I mean, if I may be critical of the movie for a second, and this is my biggest problem with most musicals is, like, if you're breaking for a song, it needs to be saying something about either the character or the plot or even the setting, and that's usually where, like, they get away with a lot of this.
Yeah, and
Singing in the
Beautiful
Rain
Girls
does
is a
this
Sure.
set piece.
better than
Yeah,
most, and
setting.
this is true in, like, even action movies. It's just like the action has to be doing something. It has to be moving the plot along, or it has to be saying something
Right.
about the character.
Or
And
really
as we've
cool. Yeah, I
talked about
agree.
many times, musicals and martial arts are the same. They
The
have the
same
same
thing.
spine.
Yeah.
So there's multiple times of this where it's just like, oh, we're still going with this thing that doesn't reveal
Yeah,
anything.
what you didn't
And
account for was the tap dancing, Sage.
yeah, no, I mean, that's how martial arts get away with it too. It's like, wow, look at all the flips. I'm distracted from the fact that this isn't influencing the story or characters.
Right.
But when it's 17 minutes long, and you can also see that it is a full third of the budget of the movie. And honestly, I would argue that the whole payoff of that is just the gag of, well, I don't really see it, but I'll take your word on it when they cut back to the studio, because this is all also it's a dream sequence.
The
Technically,
pitch.
that wasn't
Yeah,
even
it's
them
just
Yeah.
filming it. That's like, this is what's gonna happen.
The air of ballsiness about that is pretty fun, though. But yeah, no, it could have been a little shorter.
Yeah. I mean, I would say that about most of the sequences. I know, Gavin, you love Make 'Em Laugh. I don't.
I
It
mean,
goes on
it's not my
way too
favorite,
long.
but I do
Okay.
enjoy it quite a bit. Yeah.
Gavin, I know you defended Make 'Em Laugh when I brought this up earlier.
It makes me laugh, Sage. What can I say?
Well, so
That's
we
what
have to
I'm supposed
take we also have to take it on like a the lens of it being a different era of movie watching.
Mhm.
I mean, we're now watching movies that are cut 3,000 times more often than that movie was.
Mhm.
And still getting bored of the pacing. So it's like it's just a different time, I think. So sometimes those things that are 17 minutes long back then, it was like, oh, this is great, because it's like you got the audience. But I think now it's harder because we have a shorter attention span. But
And that to be said too. I mean, everyone in this movie who's doing the dance moves in particular, and just like the amount of time that they are cutting is much smaller, and how
Yeah.
much of this choreography is just working. And there's, I know Sage, you did a little bit of a watch on Debbie's story, because this was not an easy movie. You have a quote prepared?
If you want to vamp for a bit.
They're the two hardest things in her life
Oh, yeah.
were childbirth and singing in the rain.
Oh
And,
my god.
Gene Kelly was such a dick to her.
I love this veiled counterpoint from Johnny Green, who's the head of music at MGM at the time, who says, Gene isn't easygoing as long as you know exactly what you are doing when you're working with him. He's a hard taskmaster, and he loves hard work. But if you want to play on his team, you'd better like hard work, too. He isn't cruel, but he's tough. And if Gene believed in something, he didn't care who he was talking to, whether it be Louis B. Mayer or the gatekeeper. He wasn't awed by anybody, and he had a good record of getting what he wanted.
Well, that sounds like a
Which is
politically
all to say, it
calculated,
sounds like he's a
prepared
cruel
statement.
taskmaster.
Yeah. A nice way to say it.
The man could dance.
The man could dance.
The
It was
man
quite
could
the
definitely
dance.
dance. And Debbie Reynolds can sing, man.
Well,
Except for the songs.
no, about that, because I did a quick fact check. This is a movie about Debbie Reynolds singing over someone else. Like the
Yes.
idea that, which is, a thing that happened
Lamont.
back then a lot, including in Singing in the Rain, because someone else is singing Debbie Reynolds' parts in most of those songs. Which
I
is
love
just
that fact.
the layers of artifice that are already in this film, and then you throw more on top of it. Also, it's a thing that we discovered that feels pretty relevant. This is a jukebox musical. All of these songs, except for Moses Supposes, already existed and were already things that it's all stuff that was his catalog from 20, 25 years ago.
On YouTube, it's a weird, 1929 Singing in the Rain. I think it's all the MGM stars. And we recreated it in Babylon. where they're all wearing the pink slickers, and there's like a giant Noah's Ark um, backdrop behind them, and there's rain going, and it's just kind of fun. And the little bit of history behind that is the actual backdrop we had in Babylon was the original one from the 1929's Hollywood Review. They pulled it
Oh,
out
wow.
of the archives, put it up,
Wow.
and that's what we use, which is incredible because the thing is, it's almost 100 years old, just like this 100th episode. Ooh,
Did you guys
good transition.
break? Did you guys break anything irreplaceable on
Just our
Babylon?
souls,
Still.
just our souls.
Okay, fair enough. Those
We
are
definitely had.
replaceable.
I mean, we definitely had like, yeah, you could just purchase new ones. No, we had some hot days in Simi Valley that was just brutal. There's the
Yeah.
big, the big jousting, scene was 110 degrees in Simi Valley,
Yeah.
and everybody had to wear those outfits, and there was 1,000 extras and 4 different caterers, and it was just an insane movie shoot.
Both La La Land and Babylon do owe obviously a lot to Singing in the Rain, but there is something so beautifully maximalist about the way Babylon. In this movie, we get them walking through. It's got our scene of blackface in the movie, where they're doing like a series of silent films all stacked next to each other in
Yeah.
Singing in the Rain. And you guys captured that the energy of that so wonderfully in Babylon as well.
Yeah,
And that's
and it
one of
was
my
so fun to
favorite
do.
moments in this
Yeah,
movie
it was so
too.
fun to
Yeah.
do. And in that movie, we were playing the different tracks from each little venue had their own little musicians that were playing along to
Yeah.
give the vibe to and it was fun that was a fun scene to create. And that whole studio was created. There's a great time lapse. I think there's probably behind the scenes time lapse of building that entire exterior studio. But they did such a great job. The production design was incredible on that film.
Yeah.
I was thinking a lot watching this about how everything I know about old school Hollywood is been taught to me by Hollywood. So I
Mhm.
doubt the veracity and authenticity of a lot. It's a bit like the government telling you how the economy's doing.
Yeah, right.
I'm really curious if you have any insight or even educated guess into the sequence in Singing in the Rain, which you more or less do in Babylon, as well as Marco Robbie is learning how to record sound for
Sure.
that scene. When they're putting the giant plant microphones in the wardrobes, is that a thing that happens?
Boy, I
Is that
wish
played
it.
for
I
laughs?
wish it. I wish I knew. To be honest, I imagine it did. I mean, I imagine that kind of thing happened. Because what else are you gonna do? You have to get a microphone close
Well,
enough.
that's my first thought is like, was anything up on essentially Fisher booms? I think of older movies as like the microphone's always hanging above them, whether it's mounted. And this is making the claim that like everything was plants for the first few years.
Right, right, and maybe that was true. I mean, I know that in Babylon we hang it from the ceiling and it wasn't movable easily, and they had to hit their marks. Maybe that was probably more likely the scenario than it was than sewing it into an actress's outfit. But it makes for a fun idea,
So
and just
It really does.
it sounds like you
yeah.
weren't a historical sound consultant on Babylon.
No, and I have no idea whether or not that was the case. We do put mics on actors now, and we do hear the heartbeat of an actress if you put
And
it too close to their heart.
I would
Happens all the time.
argue emotional accuracy over
Yeah,
historical
yeah.
accuracy is also a valid way to look at things.
Yeah.
Also, you guys tell me
Verisimilitude.
if it's getting too windy because all of a sudden the wind picked up. You let me know. I can move inside.
I was going to ask, do you guys have a favorite song or performance from this movie?
Yeah, I mean, I mean, obviously, "Singing in the Rain" is an awesome performance, but I do like the "Make 'Em Laugh" song. I mean, it's just it's just so funny. I know Sage hates it, but
It's
I do
great as
think
its own clip on YouTube. That's
Yeah.
yeah, that's but no, I do think it's fun. You just can't help but just enjoy the whole performance. Just the
Yeah.
athleticism of it all is insane.
I'm forgetting his name, but the guy playing Cosmo is
Yeah,
such a performance. He's so
Yeah.
fun.
I really like
and
him
his
on the
eyes are
cover of
so
Mad
blue.
Magazine.
I'm like, holy crap! Oh yeah,
That Technicolor.
My
It's
favorite is
incredible.
definitely actually the opening. I rewatched this movie again this morning and caught a few things that I missed before. But in the kind of the opening montage, which is brilliant, it's just him lying to someone else as we see his actual backstory. He's like, "Oh, I was the highest of class. I was paraded around and raised this way." And you just see him playing in shitty little bars, and they have this
Yeah,
wonder
that's right.
vaudeville act where they're both playing fiddles. That is by far my
Yeah.
favorite.
That
Grabbing
that
nickels off the ground.
Yeah.
that backstory stuff and him like the level of I'd kind of forgotten that element going in, but the stuntman stuff is
Mhm.
amazing. That's when we also first meet Lena, or we get to see their first meeting where he approaches her and she
She
like
doesn't want anything to
just
do with them.
nothing. And then a producer walks up and he's like, "You're gonna be the next big thing, kid." And she's like, "I'm free for dinner tonight. What do you want to do?" And he's like, "Oh, I have
I'm free for
plans."
dinner tonight. Ooh.
Well, I mean, first, excellent impression, but, no, she's
Thanks.
not saying anything at this point, and that was a little hard to
Oh, that's right,
swallow.
right.
Just the
Yeah, yeah,
idea
yeah.
that, like, how she acts in the
Oh,
silent
that's
films is
right.
also how she's acting, but it's just to make a joke land. And I
I
knew the
mean,
Yeah.
twist, obviously, but, like, I'm glad they got to it as fast as they did. I don't necessarily know how to
oh,
fix this
I think they
problem,
do
but
the perfect amount of time to me. I think that's like because you can feel it coming, and it's just that nice amount of foreshadowing where it's like this is going to be an important moment when she first speaks.
Yep.
The when she's on stage, it's uncomfortable, but like that's part of the joy of it because she like keeps stepping forward to speak to her adoring fans, and he pulls her back. And then afterwards, you get the conversation from the producers like, "We just thought it'd be better if Don Lockwood was more the voice of the pair of you."
Yeah.
Yeah, wild stuff. Dignity, dignity, dignity. Yeah.
I love you. I love you. I love you.
No, no, no.
That
Yeah.
was another similar question is, I'd always been told that the transatlantic accents, which is a little
Yeah.
bit after the time period of this movie, but the idea of having to change the way that you talk for
Right.
these microphones. I don't know if this is the ribbon microphone period, or I don't actually know that much about microphone like history technology.
Well, Sage. No, just kidding. I don't know.
But if you could mansplain it to me, that would be wonderful. Or if you could boulder dash it. Tell me how microphones work, Gavin.
I refuse.
Okay.
Well, back in
Um,
the day, they had to speak up to be heard.
Yeah.
Yeah. See?
I
From a gain staging perspective, that makes sense, but, like, in terms of, like, having to hit a certain frequency or, like, everyone is rolling their R's in this movie. I actually forgot to
Yeah.
introduce this as singing in the rain.
Yes.
Right. Yeah.
No, and honestly, that leads to I think maybe one of the two catchiest songs in the movie is Moses supposes his toes were roses, but Moses supposes erroneously.
The only original song of this movie.
Which, I mean, to be fair, only the music was original. The lyrics actually go much farther back.
Well, yeah.
So you can still keep the jukebox label on this thing.
I guess
Which
I should
I
just say
don't
the only
mind.
song the songwriters hadn't already written.
Yeah. I think there's almost something just as deeply cynical about running out the your cast of stars to sing this song as it is to turn it into a great musical film. But I also don't have anything against jukebox musicals as a rule. I think they're great.
I gotta disagree on that.
That's fine.
I don't mind a
I mean,
jukebox musical. I've done a
Well,
couple.
yeah, you
They're
have done
fine.
a couple.
Yeah. Yeah.
Say, what's this about injuries and how do you want to pivot to it?
Yeah, everyone was in pain all the time on this film. Is that your question about injuries? Debbie Reynolds danced till her foot bled, and then Gene Kelly was
Jeez.
still dick to her. Fred Astaire had to even come in and kind of yell at Gene Kelly, be like, you can't
gotta dance
do
harder."
this. This is not encouraging her to work harder. You're just breaking her spirit.
And credit to her, she's acting wonderfully in this movie, especially
Mhm.
when she has to be seemingly in love with this man.
Is
Because
20
she's
years older
charming
than
as
her and a
all
cat.
get out in this.
Yeah.
I would say.
She's delightful. Honestly, my favorite thing about I watched Bright Lights, which is the Debbie Reynolds Carrie Fisher documentary. That's her daughter, for anyone who didn't
Oh,
know.
okay.
And Debbie Reynolds is so charming and so youthful through the whole thing. It opens with they've got footage of like their life together, old 60s, 70s footage of young Carrie Fisher. And then you hear the two of them talking to each other. And Carrie Fisher sounds 30 years older than Debbie Reynolds. It took me a good minute and a half to realize that the older sounding one was actually 25 years younger.
Quite the power generation though. The two of them.
That's right. Yep.
Yeah, absolutely.
I did a movie with Carrie Fisher years and years ago called Wonderland.
Oh yeah,
Val
this came up
Kilmer.
on the Blues Brothers episode.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, yeah, lovely. She was
I mean, you
lovely.
could tell it.
I don't know. That's all I got. That's all I got. I was trying to participate.
Yeah.
They both seem charming. Yeah. Speaking of charm, I did find one other quote from Gene Kelly that I found pretty fun. He was actually approached to direct The Sound of Music.
Really?
And turned it down, escorting the screenwriter out of his house, yelling, "Go find someone else to direct this piece of shit."
I mean, that's
So
like a theme to a lot of
charming.
movies, right? That like the huge hits were always
Yeah.
thought of as just like the worst ideas. Like Wizard of Oz was like a
Yeah.
movie nobody wanted to make, and
That's
Well, even
wild.
Singing in the Rain wasn't treated as like a critical or blockbuster success. Like the success
No, and
of
it
this
was,
movie truly surprised everyone involved in it.
and I think it sounded like it actually came a little bit later too.
right.
This did follow An American in Paris, which I think was the bigger film that year. But
Yeah.
I mean, to have both of those coming out in such short succession, there was some. We were talking off Mike Sage about the idea of the studio system and how consolidation is happening more and more these days. And one thing is that everyone just worked a lot more, and you get a lot more swings at the bat. And I do think like magic gets to happen the more swings you got at bat, and that's pretty cool. There's a lot of problems with the studio system. I'm not going to defend that. I think thank God for the unions and all that, but I wouldn't mind a few more swings at bat. That's all I'm
Oh,
saying.
yeah, for
It would be
sure.
cool to have the stability of
Yeah.
running into the next movie, knowing that's coming, and getting to potentially take chances.
Yeah.
As I was looking up like inflation calculators that go through, this cost 2.5 million and made 7.5 million. And with inflation, I actually don't have those numbers in front of me now, but that's like 3 to 4
A lot.
times more. Yeah, it's like
An amount.
every 25 years it kind of doubles exponentially. But that's not actually the same metric as production costs. Like it's a bad way to look at it.
Yeah, and P&A is going to be different too if you already own the theaters. I
Yeah,
forget when
no,
the
there's a
pre-rap
lot of
happened.
different
We talked about-
factors. I wanted to say that I love the idea going to the scene where he jumps into Debbie Reynolds' car. I love the
Mhm.
idea that there's a point in time where the only recognizable famous people are criminals. Like she's so sure that the only way she could know him was if he was wanted and was on posters. I'm like, that's the most late 20s ass thing I've
Yeah.
ever heard.
Where there were no rock stars, there were no. Yeah. True.
Yeah.
There was no TV.
If you didn't actually go to the theaters, you wouldn't know who these actors were because there are probably less posters and images of famous actors than there are the bank robbers
Oh,
who
for
are on
sure.
the lam.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, but there are like the Teen Beat magazines or whatever they're called.
That's
back
true,
in that
yeah.
day.
Teen
She
Beat.
references
You are
that a
aging
little bit.
yourself.
There's a bit of a discomfort in that scene where he's reaching over and hugging her in the car while they're driving. But there is something very charming to the place they get to with all the negging and for both of them back and forth with the I think I've seen one of your pictures, and then later on the admission that I've seen all. I've
Yeah,
seen
yeah,
most
that
of
was
them.
pretty great.
I like that part of the scene. I don't like the one where Gene Kelly lands in and immediately swoops on her, even though she's 21 years older. It's like, well, I'm a movie star, so this is gonna work. When you're famous, they let you do it. It's very much that vibe. And I'm just like, it's gonna be a big ask of this film to get me back on Gene Kelly's side after that.
Yeah, I still think they kind of do, but I hear you.
I don't know what
There's-
that says about you, Gavin.
No, I think. I
Hey.
mean, I don't disagree with them in a certain sense. See, it's like the charm is there. You're supposed to forget the age gap. I think and it was also just
Yeah.
a
That
different.
doesn't.
I know it doesn't help.
He's a very hard-lived 25.
That's something I'm conditioned to, and like doesn't bother me. And yeah, I in my head I'm just like, it's probably 10 years. Just was I'm prepared for like a 40-year-old going next to a 19-year-old.
Yeah,
So I'm like,
this is true.
I don't co-sign that.
Yeah. I think, to be fair, I think he's not playing a 40-year-old, but
I feel like
who
he might
knows?
be because
But
he's
I
saying he's
do-
an aging
Hollywood
actor at the
casting.
end of the.
Yeah, no, I
like,
think
you're
he's
right.
very
it's
much
like,
40,
it's over
yeah.
for me. My time is done.
Also, at this point in time, Gene Kelly's one of the few people because like he looks like a 40-year-old does now. So I assume that's just how it
Wow.
worked back then.
That's right.
We still got 40 years after this to get to even George Costanza.
Or he
Like,
could have
people
been,
used
I mean,
to
he could have been
age like
28,
milk.
the aging Hollywood actor at 28.
Sage, where are you feeling on this? I'm maybe ready to cast some judgment on this film.
I have one more fun anecdote
Okay.
because I'm in love with the use of ADR in this movie. And it really reminds me of a story of like the first movie that I did in California starred this comedian called Josh Robert Thompson. I think that's close to his name if it's not his actual name. But he was on Craig Kilborn show as a robot. But he had most of his work at a very specific thing, which was doing ADR for stars.
Hmm.
He started, he's a skinny white guy, and he got famous online for doing a just spot on Morgan Freeman impression. Even got like a ad campaign where he played more than Freeman, just so you could see the dichotomy of this skinny white boy doing deep black voice. It's
Sure.
incredible.
I'm more than Freeman. Thank you for listening.
This got exposed to Morgan Freeman, and Morgan Freeman hired him to do like trailer narration as him, and eventually was just doing ADR for him. And he was telling me a story about working on Gangster Squad, voicing basically every single person in ADR. Like everyone other than
Wow.
he couldn't do Ryan Gosling's squeaky little voice in that. But like
Mhm.
he is Sean Penn in that. He is Josh Brolin. He is did a flaws. What does Sean Penn say a lot in that
Like, actually,
movie?
in the
Down for
movie?
the horse. Yeah.
Wow.
Like, you'll actually hear his voice as the ADR.
Wow.
Which is very cool, but it does make me
Is that-
very worried about, like, people just being like, yeah, you could just let my AI voiceover do the work.
Yeah. Is that plan A or is that plan C at that point?
That felt like plan A there. That felt like the
Wow.
actors just didn't want to do it, or Morgan Freeman, like, legitimately did not want to do additional voiceover for Oblivion, which is the only example I can think of, but they've had a working relationship, probably still, for that. And he gets invited to a lot of Morgan Freeman's like award shows and is just hanging out. He's like a part of Morgan Freeman's team.
That's amazing.
Yeah. Part of the crew.
Yeah. I wanted to share that. And I also wanted to ask, the police officer comes up during the singing in the rain scene. Is it illegal to sing in the rain in 1952?
I think
It
I
was
think he was
illegal to sing in
looking
the
like
rain,
he was an
yeah.
insane man singing and dancing by himself in the rain.
Possibly inebriated in public.
Yeah.
But he was just drunk with love.
Yep. Who hasn't been and jumped in puddles?
Illegal.
Illegal. Also, it's nice to know that the cops were also disliked back then too.
Yeah.
It's like, how great a cop is coming. I'm fine. Leave me alone.
I'm just singing in the rain.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm just trying to cool down because I have 103-degree fever right now.
That's right. And I have no insurance, so I can't go to the doctor. Right, these are other problems.
I do find it a little funny that he passes a couple that are both huddling under a newspaper and doesn't give them the umbrella. But then, like, after the cop, he just kind of hands it to some random guy who's just walking without
Who's fine.
really
I'm
seeming
fine.
to worry
Leave
about
me
it 'cause he had
alone.
a hat.
Yep.
Yeah.
The only last thing I really wanted to compliment the film on is I think there's some really cool and impressive transitions. Like, this was a movie that, even from a cinematography perspective, made me ask a couple times, like, how to do that? I spent the first viewing of this movie in how to do that mode, especially. There's an incredible sequence where they are doing ADR, and it, like, zooms in on the daily that they're doing ADR for, and then it pulls out to them watching the daily in a theater. And I'm just like,
Yeah.
that
That's
is
so
cool.
seamless. Yeah.
That is a lot of routing, like, probably a visual effect match cut that I couldn't think of, but, like,
There's some pretty impressive masking, a lot of compositing in this movie. It's a beautiful looking movie, on top of like all the choreography, which I think steals the show. But
yeah.
it's a good looking movie, a good sounding movie.
Yeah, the sets are incredible.
And,
I mean, it's a
I'm
movie
using-
about making a movie. You feel like we're watching them make a
Yeah.
movie. I mean, it's great.
And I think we're using the adjective good a lot. And I think it begs a certain question, Sage.
Is it?
Should Steve move inside away from the wind?
So we've got some sort of rubric that I think we might run this movie through.
Refined after the decades of doing this.
Yeah, can you remind me what it is?
Sure. So, of every movie, we ask the question, is it still good? Is it better as a memory? Or should we arrest it for public merriment in the rain?
I was going to say pull the curtain and reveal that someone else has been speaking for it the entire time.
Oh,
And that
publicly
it
embarrass
actually
it at
sounds
its own
squeaky.
premiere. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. I'll go first. I don't think I've been hiding it. I think this is a great movie. I really love it. I every time I'm watching it, it kind of all floods back to me, and it just gives me the warm fuzzies all over.
Yeah, I like it. I think
Short
it's. I mean, it
and
has
succinct.
it's problematic. Couple, one of the songs is a bit problematic, and
Yeah.
but all in all, I think it's a still a fun watch. And the transitions, the filmmaking, the whole plot, it's fun. It's just a history of kooky characters and fun dance, and I think it's still good.
Yeah. I mean, I mean, hopefully it's not a surprise. I also think this movie's still good. I'm critical of it. So I watched it again this morning, and I liked it more, like, kinda knowing how the pieces fit together, and the things that were bothering me from the first watch through mostly stopped. Like, I had some problems with the Cosmo sidekick who was annoying me through a lot of them, and I think
Yeah.
once you're living in already the memory of that film, like, I think it probably gets better every time you watch it, and I'm really on the lookout for it to play at, like, a repertory theater of some sort.
Yeah. It's
Is it
it's definitely built for nostalgia.
Yeah.
It is a
But
nostalgia machine.
it's also just a story that I love. Like, the spine of this movie is the spine of so many of my favorite movies.
Mhm.
Without this, we don't have, honestly, even, like, movies about making movies
Hmm.
is one of my
Yeah.
favorite subgenres, followed by famous people pretending to be other famous people.
Mhm.
And Babylon, La La Land, like, all these movies. The Fall even, like, owes so much to Singing in the Rain. My hot take is I don't necessarily think this is best served as being a musical, but I'm not gonna harp and but that I should say for me. I should really
Mhm.
qualify that as my personal experience. The version of this movie that I want the most is not the version on the screen, but I'm getting better at not holding that against the movie. Because this is obviously the version that everyone wanted in 1952, because it did gangbusters, and it's left such a legacy. AFI has it as the best musical of all time, has it as like number 10 of the best movies of all time. And I'm not cynical enough to shake my finger at that. It's a good movie.
That's fair.
Yeah.
That's a healthy way to look at it. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
So what is the version that you'd want to see, Sage, if we
Well,
wanted to tug that string?
well, I have some very good news about this because
Oh,
we watched this on HBO, and HBO is being sold for parts right now. So
sure.
I was
Yeah.
able to swoop in, and I didn't even pay for Singing in the Rain. I just distracted someone with a shiny ball and took the rights.
Whoa.
This doesn't really mean anything because obviously MGO owns this movie. But if we're sticking with our bit, uh,
Uh-huh.
and I'm sure they'll load HBO in a couple of years.
I mean,
So we're gonna pivot. I stole it from Amazon. But yes, we own the rights to Singing in the Rain a little bit more than everyone else because the song Singing in the Rain, fun fact, is actually public domain. So we could just play it on the way out of this and not having to worry about Spotify.
yeah.
We could do a
Nailed it.
cover, but we're gonna play our little bumper here.
I like it.
I know, it's great, right?
Another.
I think the simplest answer is I'd like to just see whatever the Dancing Cavalier looks like. I
Mhm.
want a version of the movie within the movie,
The movie they were making,
with
you want to see
all
it.
the movie they were
Yeah.
making with fun film gags, almost like Black Dynamite style. Like, I wanna see plant mics exposed in it. I wanna see ADR slips and desynchronization, taking that approach, and then some very weird I think about, like, the end of Blazing Saddles when they go onto the movie set, and it just starts getting anachronistic. That's how I would, like, fold in these giant musical numbers.
You just couldn't get enough of that Chicago sequence. I get it.
Well, I said I'd cut that completely, but I think if you are making the Dancing Cavalier movie within there, you need to
I
lead into that. Like, there's just that is
yeah. They do explain how it fits into the movie, but to like see that actually happen would be wild.
there's additional. I wanted to add a couple of levels of meta to it and have a
Mm.
movie about Gene Kelly trying to reboot Singing in the Rain towards the end of his career in like the 70s or 80s, playing off of a double 20-year nostalgia factor, and also have George Clooney be Gene Kelly in this.
Yeah.
Like a
I
like
want
a
a movie
solid
so
a
complicated that
solid
you
part two.
need a flowchart.
Yeah, still Singing in the Rain.
Yeah. Gavin, do you have a more cost-effective version?
Honestly, you were talking about movies, and we've gotten a few very fun, more recent takes on the superhero genre, and just more modern films like The Studio, which I think is another very close like sequel to like in spirit of this,
Okay, yeah.
and the I'm forgetting the HBO show about making of the superheroes TV show, which was like
Is
pretty
it the
fun.
British one?
And I think it's
Ah,
American. I'm forgetting the name of it. All that to say, I would really love to see something like this set around when James Cameron was doing The Abyss, like early confusing CGI, that break, like Jurassic Park, that era. And all I'm saying is, I would love to see a musical version set amongst like the nerds in their dark rooms with the computers, figuring out how to end stop motion, basically, and see that transition where you get to see like Stan Winston going head to head with I'm forgetting the names, like Spaz, seeing like the fight for what the dinosaurs are going to look like in Jurassic Park and The Abyss. Just like I think something a musical where you get to have dream sequences with like their version of finished CGI could be really
that's
fun.
fun. How
So
about like a
that's my pitch.
2001 Space Odyssey, but the making
Yeah,
of musical version?
yeah, precisely. That would be that.
Stanley
That.
Kubrick, we cannot do that. And he comes out like,
Yeah. Who would you cast as Stanley if you can dream cast it?
oh, well, that's a great question.
Jack
I
Black
mean,
would be
that
my
would be a
kind of
solid
like
pick. Yeah.
choice. Yeah,
Yep.
man's got a voice.
Yeah, he could do it.
I got nothing for that. He doesn't look like a real human. Looking at the picture right now, I'm like, okay, that makes more sense
Stanley
now.
Kubrick.
Kind of like the first time you see David Lynch, and you're like, oh, okay.
Yeah, right.
It explains a
This
lot.
makes more sense
Yeah.
now, just from the optics.
Yeah.
Well, it's been so influential that I'd love to take a minute or two and throw out some recommendations. If you loved this movie like us,
You mean
what are
Singing in the
some
Rain?
things? What did this make you want to go watch afterwards? I feel like I may have missed Gavin's joke based on how he's laughing.
You said La La
Yeah,
Land,
La La
but
Land.
you meant Singing in the Rain.
Did I?
Yeah.
Yeah. Singing in the Rain has been very influential, but I'll go off of like Steve. You just mentioned Stanley Kubrick, and I saw a movie recently called Project Avalanche. Is a telling of this small team in, I believe, the CIA that is tasked with finding a rat in the NASA space program.
Oh, wow.
And along the way, you actually get to see this amazing moment where they sneak a camera onto Stanley Kubrick's set to explore. They decide not to have him redo the moon landing, but like to look at how you'd maybe make the moon
Right,
landing
just
look
in
really
case,
cool.
yeah.
Just the magic of that film. It's another one where you're looking at this screen, and it's the same filmmakers behind Nirvana, the band, the show, the movie, and Blackberry, and just what they can get away with. It's got to be amazing planning, but also just the magic they're able to capture. Like to me, it's like looking at the blank page of animation and just like, how do you guys get
Right.
here? It's incredible.
Yeah.
So Project Avalanche, highly
Oh,
recommend.
amazing.
I'll go just to piss Gavin off. Step Up 3 is my favorite Singing in the Rain homage.
Okay.
Fun episode. Fun fact about Step Up the 3: both of our co-hosts voted to Execute in the Street, and I gave it a still good.
That tracks.
Perfect screenplay.
Oh my gosh.
No notes.
No notes. Have you seen War Machine lately?
Steve, you got anything you War?
I mean, not really
which
Singing
one?
in the Rain reason, but
No, but it's okay.
yeah, strange
it.
movie. Strange movie. It was good until the
Rain of
aliens.
Bullets.
Spoiler alert.
So, all right. So, I gotta stop for a second because are we talking about
Is this the
Netflix's
Nicolas
War
Cage
Machine?
movie?
Nope, this is the what's his name? He just beat up his neighbor.
The one with
Uh-oh.
Reacher, Alan
Yeah,
Ritchson.
Reacher.
Oh,
I mean, he didn't beat
okay.
him up.
Yeah.
You know what
Okay,
I mean.
so this is one of the most unforgivable things I think a studio has done is Netflix has 2 movies called War Machine. They're both like original Netflix things. They're not just things that are put on Netflix, and they called them both War Machine. One 7 years ago, and it's not a small movie. It stars Brad Pitt.
Oh yeah.
It's about like a U.S. general during Iraq, like based off of a best-selling book, et cetera, et cetera. And then they had the audacity to just call this one War Machine, and I don't think I can forgive that.
I don't think you'll have a choice. I don't think you have a choice not to forgive him. It happened.
It's time to
Are
cancel
you-
those Netflix.
But are you saying I should watch the new War Machine?
Sure. Yeah, check it out.
Not taking this serious.
No,
Steve.
I know. Let's see. What would I mean, look, anytime you can
No, that's
anytime you
like-
can
that's
dig
what
into
I'm
the
saying.
older movies and just kind of see the history of where we are, how we got here is, I think, is never a bad thing, but it's always shocking sometimes, what was accepted back then versus now. And so those are always the caveats,
Yeah. Do you have a favorite classic musical?
Well, I mean, Wizard of Oz is a classic. It's tough though, because it's like,
Yeah.
am I going to watch it? Favorite musical that I'll watch over and over? No, but like when it's on, I don't mind it. Like if it's on during Christmas or the holidays, put it on. It's playing in the background. It's fun.
But Wizard of Oz has such a special place too because of that use of black and white and color,
Mhm.
and also riding the line of a technological change. My homework is I got to go see this the jazz singer.
Mhm.
I guess.
I gotta watch The Artist. Like, there's so many things I was looking up. I'm just like, oh, I just want more movies about like this specific period.
Right.
Oh, I'll have a recommendation of if you want to see people adapting to and or getting replaced by new technology. No Other Choice was pretty good.
Yeah, it was
Oh
great.
man.
Well,
All right.
Too soon.
Well, that was episode 100, and we're gonna take a little break, but we'll see you on the other side once we figure out what this podcast is and what we want it to be. Steve, thank you so much for joining us. This is
Yeah, thank
it's
you so
Yeah,
such a
thanks for
treat to
having
call you my
me,
friend.
and hopefully it's not the last podcast. We'll see. See what you guys come up with.
It's not. I like try to make this sound not like that. I just
Sounded
like
pretty
we need a
ominous.
little
Sounded
break to
pretty ominous.
recalibrate. This is this will be out in May hopefully. So do you have anything coming out this summer you want to plug or anything? Do you even know your advanced
Uh,
release schedule?
I think May. Let's see. We have the invite to Olivia Wilde movie. That it's a fun one. It's just four people in a San Francisco apartment having a dinner party. What could go wrong?
I've lived that experience.
I get less frustrated when movies share titles across studios.
Yeah.
There are many invites, many invitations. Netflix doesn't get to do it 7 years apart.
That's right.
Those are the rules. I make them.
Well, you can find us at Still Good Pod on IG. Drop us a little comment, maybe send us a DM. We might check it. You can follow me at Gavin V Murray.
And I'm at Hold for Plane. All right. Thanks. We'll see
Bye.
you next time.
Thanks for having me.
Hey, thanks for hanging out with us again on Is This Still Good? You can find us on Instagram at StillGoodPod or send us a formal complaint to stillgoodpod@gmail.com. We love hearing from you.
Please give us a like or review. Wherever fine pods are casted, it helps us trick those pesky algorithms.
You can find me across platforms at Hold for Plane.
And me lots of places at Gavin V Murray. Join us next time, whenever that may be. Bye.
Bye.